Hi, folks. Welcome to this 72nd episode of the REBT Advocates with Dr. Michael R. Adelstein of 3minutetherapy.com. He's a clinical psychologist in the San Francisco Bay Area, but he also does telephonic and counseling and therapy over Skype and your preferred remote therapy platform. And me, Tommy Bateman, of no particular website in particular, but you can find me by emailing rebtadvocates@gmail.com. Michael had a quick announcement before we get started. Michael, go for it.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. I just wanted to mention that a new expanded version of 3-Minute Therapy is out. It's now in paperback by a new publisher, updated, and so it's available on Amazon. So, and the copies are flying off the shelves, so get yours before we run out. Thanks, Tommy.
All right. So, and my name's in that one, so get that because my name's in it. So, today we wanted to talk about a pet peeve, and I'm going to get on my soapbox because I have been triggered. I have been triggered by the constant comments from internet commenters on YouTube and from my own clients saying, Tommy, the problem with REBT is that it does not give me any meaning to my life like Jordan Peterson does. It doesn't give me meaning. So how can I be happy without meaning? Well, I have a lot of problems with that statement. Michael, why don't you go first?
Well, actually, it's true. REBT does not say there's some kind of meaning in the universe. We don't have any evidence for that. There may be, but I haven't seen any evidence for that. But that doesn't mean you have to feel depressed about it, because as we know, our emotions come from our thinking, not from situations. So if we have recognized we have no cosmic meaning in our life, and we don't tell ourselves, I must have meaning, it's awful, terrible, and horrible that I don't, I'm going to be miserable forever, if we don't tell ourselves that, but rather we define meaning into our lives, then we won't be depressed and we will have a good life.
So what is the evidence for subjective value in that a human can have?
Yeah, good question. And subjective value comes from defining goals into your life. For example, one of my goals that I just made up out of thin air is to get my book, 3-Minute Therapy, on the New York Times bestseller list. So that puts meaning in my life to work hard, to get the word out, to give talks, to do podcasts with Tommy, etc., to try to achieve that goal. And as long as I don't have it as a must, but a very strong preference, then that would be enjoyable and meaningful. So, and that's subjective.
And I saw at the very end you tagged on, as long as I don't make it a must, because even subjective values could be a victim to that same musty psychopathological thinking that we talk about quite often in the REBT. Michael, do you have another point on this or no?
Actually, all values are subjective because they come from us. They don't come from Mars or any place outside of us. They come from us. And there are various ways to come up with values or meaning in your life. Experimentation, trial and error, taking a guess, think about what you've enjoyed in the past, see what gives meaning to your friends, etc. So, and I have a Psychology Today blog on this very topic, if you're interested in pursuing that further.
Did Albert Ellis say anything about this?
About meaning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is pretty much what he said. In fact, I get everything I say from Albert Ellis. Yeah. I'm a plagiarizer. Nothing is original. I learned it all from him.
Well, really, I think you mentioned the book. What was it? What was the book he wrote with that?
Humanistic Psychotherapy, the Rational Emotive View. Yes, good point, Tommy. Thanks for reminding me of that. And he has a chapter in there with Robert Hartman, I believe. And in it, he concludes that there are two options in terms of value. One is what he calls the elegant option. I have no value as in terms of my essence, my personhood, my being. I just exist, and then my job is to figure out how to enjoy my life. But there's the inelegant solution, which is almost as good, which is if you want to have meaning or value, you could say, I'm valuable because I'm human, or I'm valuable because I exist. And that's a no-lose proposition, because as long as you exist as a human, then you have value. So some of my clients opt for that solution.
All right. All right. So I have a desire to go off as well. So I have strong fundamental disagreements with a lot of what Michael just said and what Albert Ellis said to begin with, because, hey, I'm sure you guessed it by now, I am a theist. I am a Christian, which has philosophical underpinnings to it that make some of what Albert Ellis believed, who was an atheistic humanist, what he proposed. So I do believe there's such a thing as objective moral value. Is that in the realm of psychology or psychotherapy? I don't think so. I don't derive meaning from REBT because it's not the job of REBT to give me meaning. It's not the job of any psychotherapy, I hope, to give a human being meaning, because at that point we really are in the subjective realm. The only way to have an objective value is in order to have a transcendent omniscience. And that's a philosophical question and philosophy of religion question that even Daniel Dennett and Richard Dawkins, the two famous atheist writers, a point they have similarly made. And of course, the Christian philosophers have made these very similar point as well. So that's my big soapbox, is that it is a fundamental categorical error to try to derive meaning from REBT. What REBT is excellent at is getting rid of psychopathological thinking, those musts, those shoulds. There we go. Did I go off enough, Michael?
No, that's very good.
Oh, excellent.
And if you're a theist or you're a therapist dealing with someone who's a theist, I suggest you go back to our podcast. I don't recall the number, but Tommy and I did a podcast on how to work with religious clients using REBT, and you might find that instructive.
Yes, absolutely. I think it was is REBT compatible with religion? It's a snippet. It's not exhaustive compatibility. And there's actually, if you Google Christian REBT, there are some Christian REBT therapists that really bring it up. And I believe there's some Muslim REBT therapists that also combine Islamic theology with REBT. So yes, the commenters that have said this recently, you are touching on something, right? Something that's true. But the problem is you're asking too much of the theory, because that's not where the theory goes. It's not appropriate for the theory to go in that direction.
Yes, only if you're depressed about the issue, then REBT is appropriate. Also, in terms of theistic REBT therapists, Paul Hauck is one. He's written a number of very good books on depression, anger, and procrastination, HAUCK, and I'm sure you can find them on Amazon. Okay, very good. Thanks very much for that, Tommy, and we'll be back again in approximately a week. So if you enjoyed this episode, please comment below and subscribe to the REBT Advocates to stay on the rational side of life.